Networking and marketing made simple is for you, the business owner who has a product, a service, or a message that you believe in. My name is Scott Aaron, and each week we'll take a behind-the-scenes look into the real-world marketing and networking tactics and strategies for getting what you have in front of you to a lot more people. Thanks for spending time with me, and now let's get started. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Networking and Marketing Made Simple. Super excited for today's episode. It's another interview episode coming your way, and super excited to interview my person that I have for you guys to listen to. I had the honor and privilege of being on her podcast, which I will hyperlink in the description of this episode so you can check it out. And they are also a podcast host, so podcasters always support other podcasters, and we call it pod swaps. And for other people that don't know what that means, obviously that is just kind of like the inside lingo of joining each other's podcast and supporting one another by being a guest. But the other thing that I love about what this person does is that she's a marketing specialist. And for any of you that have been listening to this podcast for the last 4.5 years, you know how much Nancy and I love everything marketing and branding, and that's what we're going to dive into today. So with all that behind us, Tori Barker, welcome to today's episode.
Scott, thank you so much for having me today. I'm super excited to drop in some great conversation and just kind of share my knowledge and help your audience in any way that I can.
Well, they appreciate that, and I appreciate that as well. So before we talk about all the things that you're currently doing now, my audience and I always love to know, if you were to rewind the tape through the journey that you've been on over the last number of years, what would you define as the catalytic moment for you where that light bulb went on and you decided to venture down the path that you're now currently on?
Well, I kind of stumbled into this business owner entrepreneur journey, like I'm sure many of your listeners have. I came from the corporate world. I worked in corporate marketing for about 15 years, and then kind of just out of necessity was looking for something new, and there was nothing out there. So I thought, well, let's just create something on my own. And so I started doing what I know how to do: digital marketing, talking to people and helping people, and just using my creativity and innovation to try and solve problems for other business owners. And that led me to my business, Creative Marketing. And through that journey, I didn't really know where that was going to take me, but it ended up taking me down this amazing path that I could not be more grateful for. And, I feel like there was a turning point when I read the book Rocket Fuel, because that really spoke to me about the visionaries and the integrators. And to me, that just was like the catalyst of, this is where I'm meant to be, and this is what I'm meant to be doing. And that in turn, helped me grow my creative marketing agency, and then starting my Creative Visionaries podcast. And then just, I feel like I'm on this like roller coaster right now where it's just going and going and going. And I just can't wait to see, where the top of the roller coaster takes me to.
Well, life is a roller coaster, and Darren Hardy, who wrote The Compound Effect, also wrote the book The Entrepreneur Roller Coaster, because that's truly, what it's all about. So if you were to kind of go back to, obviously, there are two paths that people go down. There are natural born entrepreneurs like myself. I was thrown into the realm of entrepreneurship at 19 years old. And then there's the other side, which is yourself, that has an entrepreneurial spirit and learned through working for someone else that you're like, you know what, this isn't a good fit for me, and I want to do this on my own. From your time in corporate, what would you say was the most impactful lesson that you learned in being in corporate America, working for someone else, that has helped you to transition over to running your own business successfully the way that you are now?
Well, for me, it's I like to watch people as leaders. And so I really think that the leaders that I had in the corporate world, who I worked with, for, around, really was inspiring to see, maybe some shortcomings and some ways that maybe I would improve upon the direction of the business and core values and that sort of thing. So for me, I like to do better and be better, and so that gave me, my own business gave me the opportunity to do that, because it's only up to me to be as great as I can be and to make the most impact that I can for my clients and my listeners and anyone who, I come across.
What would you say in your experience? Obviously, marketing is a very, very important aspect of growing any business, whether it's brick and mortar, whether it's online, whether it's virtual, in person, whatever it is. What would you say for the beginner that's listening to this, that is trying to piece together the business that they want to have, or maybe they have a business idea or they just got started and they really don't know what path to go down when it comes to marketing themselves and their business, or both? What would you say is the best way or the clearest path where they can get started to go down to really start putting themselves out there the right way, you know, with their marketing and those kind of tactics top of mind?
Yeah, so I would say look for people who you can idolize or who you can envy, or you see something in them that you enjoy or you can relate to. Because if you find somebody that has a similar interest and they're doing something that interests you and that you think that you can do yourself, I think start there. Kind of observe what it is that somebody's doing, and then put your own personal spin on it, right? So how would I change this? How would I approach this for my own business and starting my own business? And then the other thing is, look at your customers, right? So who would be your customer? What are their needs? What are their wants? What are their pain points? And how can you solve that in an authentic and genuine way? When you come from a place of service, being able to help those people, you're going to get business no matter what, because you're there to help them. You're not there to serve yourself. So, look at people who are doing something similar to what you want to do. Don't copy, but, use it as a guide, because sometimes it's like you don't want to reinvent the wheel, but let's just make that wheel better, right? So that's where I would start, is look at somebody who's doing something that you like, and then look at the customer side of things and, how can you help them? And a lot of times, if you listen to your consumer base or the people who would be your clients and ask them questions, they're going to give you the answers that you need, or will help you to structure what that business is that you're going to do to help that consumer.
Yeah, Nancy and I talk about all the time, well, understanding your niche and your target market, but you know, look at your competition.
Right.
See
Absolutely.
see who else is out there that is in your space, because I don't believe in I believe in healthy competition, right?
Yes.
There are other marketing experts just like you out there. There's other LinkedIn experts out there just like me. I don't see any of those people like competition. So the funny thing is, I'll connect with other quote unquote LinkedIn experts and invite them onto this podcast that has a big
Yeah.
LinkedIn focus. And they're like, "Are you sure you want me coming on your podcast?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why?" They're like, "Well, aren't I your competition?" I said, "Listen, some people like sushi, other people like Italian. So if some of the people listening to this are not my cup of tea, but they're your cup of tea, then why not give you business?" It's that giver's gain mentality, right? Like,
Absolutely.
refer people out. I don't want to work with everybody.
Yeah.
I want to work with a specific type of person. So it's so important to make sure that you're doing your own market research in your own marketing ideas and strategies. And I so agree with that. And the other thing that I always tell people is that you have to figure out the pain point that you're trying to solve for with the people that you're looking to work with. And again, understanding what your business is all about, the problem that it solves, and how it's going to leave that customer at the end of that journey will then start to paint a better picture of you, of what kind of content you should create and how to market yourself with the end in mind. Because you can't focus on the very beginning of the journey because that's where everybody is. You have to focus on the end of the journey where someone could be by working with you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, with everything that you're doing now, being a marketing strategist, what are some of the most common mistakes that you see entrepreneurs making today with the sheer volume of social media tactics and DMing and everything that you see going on? What are the most common mistakes that people can avoid when starting to market themselves in their business?
Well, I think first is a lot of people are trying to be all things to all people. And you kind of touched on it where, there's a niche for a business and there's a person or a customer who matches each, company and that sort of thing. So I think a lot of people try to be all things to all people. The other thing is kind of this spray and pray approach where they'll see all these things that they need to should be doing as far as marketing instead of really taking a step back and really looking at the big picture. Where's your audience? Where can you best connect with your audience, and what is that message that's going to resonate with your audience? And then really putting a clear plan and strategy in place on how to do that. And a lot of times it's building a structure, right? So you have to kind of understand what your business is, what problems it solves, and then take a strategic approach on how you're going to do that. Whether that is, you're starting with an email campaign, you're starting with your website, social media leads to your website. So you've got to kind of build out this almost like visual diagram that shows, this is what I'm doing. This is the end goal. Here's the path that I'm going to take my clients on in order to get to that end result, sell a product, sell a service, whatever that might be.
Now, you're somewhat new to the podcast game, and there are three things that I would say four things that my wife and I always talk about that really make you an expert in your space. Number one, having an optimized website where you can house all the information and resources and tools that you can serve other people with. Number two, having a signature program, course, or a way for people to work with you that you are able to market to and obviously put out there. Three, a podcast where you can openly promote yourself all the time, where you can generate leads, but also do collaborations like this. And four, a signature book based on your zone of genius. And obviously, you have a lot of that under your belt already. And, having a way of how people can work with you, having an optimized website. How different was it for you in the aspect of starting a podcast to market yourself compared to traditional marketing tactics like posting on social media or just doing videos?
Well, some of you might not know this, obviously, because you don't know me that well, but I'm a little bit timid when it comes to speaking, right? Like I have in the past been an introvert. And so the thought of being on video and having conversations with people that I didn't know was a little terrifying at first. But when I really stepped back and looked at the conversations that I was having that weren't recorded, and they were so dynamic and there was so much that came out of those conversations. And it was like, if only people could hear or see these conversations. And so I really pushed outside of my comfort zone to look at the podcasting space. One, it's not a well-traveled path. Not everybody does it. Not everyone has that confidence or the courage to get on and do a podcast. So I'm like, okay, this is going to set me apart a little bit than the other marketing agencies and companies that are out there. So differentiating myself. Two, it gives me the opportunity to meet new people and have conversations and learn at the same time. Because, I bring on guests that are intriguing to me, right? Like I get to learn as I'm having these conversations, and I ask the questions that I think my audience is thinking at the time that the conversation's happening. And so, podcasting just was was a way for me to open up this new avenue of, meeting people, networking, marketing my business, helping other people market their businesses. And so it's just kind of grown from there. And now it's like, I love this space. And so for me to be able to podcast swap, as we call it, and, just continue to give in this space, is something that I truly enjoy.
Going back to something that you said earlier, the spray and pray methodology, which is something that I speak about quite often because that is a tactic that a lot of people use on LinkedIn where they just connect with as many people as possible, they send as many messages as possible, and they hope the skies open up and they drop clients and money in their lap. And you and I both know the spray and pray methodology does not work. But I also want to acknowledge first, you for stepping out of your comfort zone and having conversations with people and starting a podcast because, you know, being an introvert is a real thing. There are a lot of, like, for me, I've always been a natural extrovert. So when it came time to starting a podcast, I couldn't wait to just start talking to myself because I like talking. But for an introvert to not only have to do solo episodes on their own where you have to bring the energy, but then interviewing other people, even being an introvert and now having to market yourself. And a lot of people that are introverts, they kind of hide behind their content because it's easy for them to just take a picture and hit post,
Right.
or create a quote tile on Canva and then just share it out on social media. But when the camera is on you, when you're doing, a live video or a pre-recorded video or a podcast, it's getting you uncomfortable. So for all the introverts listening to this, for you being an introvert yourself and really leaning into that fear side of things, how gratifying has it been for you being a marketing professional, knowing that one of your Achilles heels was being an introvert, and knowing if you were going to you had to, if you were going to teach marketing, you would have to do the thing. So how gratifying has it been for you? Number one. Number two, what have you learned about yourself in stepping into the extroverted side of yourself, doing a podcast and interviewing people and actively networking and having conversations?
It's been hugely gratifying for me, being able to get outside of the comfort zone. And I always think about, there's so much more on the other side of fear. And so by me getting past my fears, not only am I becoming a better person, but I'm also helping other people, because not by holding myself back and not having the conversations or having the platform like a podcast to share other people's information, then I'm deterring, what other people could learn. So it makes me, proud of myself, of course. I'm really happy that I've done it. Sorry, what was the other question?
What have you learned about yourself in stepping into the extroverted side of what you're doing now?
Yeah, so the other side of it is, I have learned that I'm stronger than I thought I was, and that I can do more than, my fears tell me that I can't do. So to me, that is, it's a boost of confidence, because there's so much potential, right? And I can see, if I've done just this little thing, which it may seem like a big thing, but it's really not. I mean, think about how much more I can do. And each day I see myself and my company growing, and the impact that I'm making on my team and my clients and the consumers and my family. And so just being able to see that confidence in myself, and see myself grow, and the potential that, the skies are the limits for me. So that's where I am.
Yeah, and I think that's a great message to anyone that's listening to this because we weren't born for mediocrity. We yeah, if you think about it as, you're a parent, I'm a parent. Um when we were kids ourselves, right? We would challenge everything, right? We would grab food with our hands when we weren't supposed to. We would, rub it all over ourselves. If we fell down trying to walk, we would get right back up. There was no fear. And then obviously, as we get older, there's certain, circumstances that may happen in someone's journey that kind of pushes you into maybe an introverted or extroverted way. But any introvert can become an extrovert, and I just call it just putting yourself out there. And I think you're learning firsthand that yes, it's extremely scary in the beginning. It's just like anything. Even extroverts deal with this. That me being an extrovert, the first time that Nancy and I launched our mastermind 2 years ago, we were scared to death because we didn't know what was going to happen on the other side. We didn't know if people were going to join, and lo and behold, 2 years later, we have 40 people at any given time going through this program, and it really proved to me that no matter whether someone's an introvert or an extrovert, you just have to put yourself out there. So
Mm-hmm.
in in linking that to someone that needs to market themselves, there are so many people that are listening to this that can resonate with your story about the fear of putting themselves out there. And again, a lot of it is that fear that we create our own selves.
Right.
Just talk about really quickly, if someone was able to lean into that fear and really start putting themselves out there in a very genuine, authentic way and marketing your product, your good, your service, or you as an individual, what's the positive side effect of doing that? Because there is no negative to marketing yourself. So what's the positive side effect of someone just leaning into it and saying, you know what, I'm just going to go for it?
Well, I mean, the positive side is making a difference, and even if it's just one person. And like I said, by me being afraid or fearful of starting a podcast and if I was not to have done that, I would have been doing a disservice to those people who are listening today, people who are going to, look me up and follow me and start to listen to the messages that I have. So, as a business owner or a company or anyone, pushing past that fear, you're able to help somebody or reach or touch somebody who you may not have been able to if you would have held back. So it's you can't do a disservice to those who need to hear your message, need to get your services, need to buy your product, whatever it might be. Think about the person on the other end. Don't think about yourself.
So as we start to wind down, Tori, tell everyone what you're working on now, and if someone is in need of something that you have to offer, and they want to find out more about you and your services and how they can work with you or connect with you, tell everybody a little bit about what you have going on, and how they can connect with you further outside of the episode.
Sure. So, as a visionary, I always have grandiose ideas, right? So I'm always thinking of these great ideas and putting new things together. So the biggest thing that I'm working on right now is my creative growth accelerator program. So it's going to be a few different steps and different ways that you can work with me and go through a 90-day accelerator program to boost your business and increase the exposure for your company. So it's going to have a couple different levels on it. Right now, we're working on, building out a course. We're working on a done with you mastermind group, and then we're working on a one-on-one. You work with me, we'll work hand in hand, and let's build and grow your company together over the course of 90 days. So that's my big project that I'm working on right now. And I'm so excited to get it, launched and off the ground so that, I can and touch millions of lives and just help so many people and just, connect with more people and learn more about, how I can grow from the people that I'm learning from and that I'm helping along the way.
And how can people find out more about to connect with you, social media, website, or what's the best way to connect with you?
Yeah, so on social media, I love LinkedIn. That's my platform. You can find me under Tori Barker, or you can go to my company page, which is Creative Marketing. And then my website, creativemarketingsacramento.com. You can get a hold of me, find out information about new courses coming out, masterminds, and all that stuff. So please visit, shoot me a message. I'd love to hear from you and connect with you.
Awesome. So all that information on how to connect with Tori, whether it be her website or social media, will be in the description of this episode, so you don't have to look too far. And Tori, final question before we sign off: what does success truly mean to you?
Success is a legacy that you can leave behind, and leaving the world a better place than when you started. So for me, it's building a legacy and becoming a better person and showing others that there's more that you can give.
Love that. A legacy is everything, and just remember, those that are listening, you don't have to wait until you leave this earth to leave your legacy. You're leaving it every single day. So every day that you show up in a positive and genuine fashion, you're showing other people how to do the very same thing. So Tori, grateful for you to come onto the podcast today. Thank you so much for sharing all your information. You're just a wealth of knowledge, and I know so many people are going to take so much away from this. So thank you again for being here today.
Thank you, Scott. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. So again, I'll link my episode of being on Tori's podcast in the description of this, as well as how to connect with Tori. So everyone, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please enjoy the rest of your days, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much again for checking out today's episode. And if you are listening through iTunes, Spotify, wherever you are, please leave me a rating and review. Let me know what you loved, what you would like to see improved, or ideas you have for future episodes. And if you are interested in taking your business to the next level, don't hesitate to go to my website, www.scottaaron.net, where you can schedule a free discovery call with me, where I can learn more about you, your business, what you're struggling with, and how we can work together. And don't forget to check out my wife, Nancy, and mine, our free community on Facebook called LinkedIn Leads for Life. We would love to see you in there. Have a great rest of your day. And thank you, everyone, for your support. Grateful for each and every one of you.